Cup is in full swing, and is it coming home? England got off to a flying start last night, and we're here to break it down. Hello, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Whistle with me, Matty K, and Grace Wild. Hello, Grace.
Hello, me and my main have decided to be on the podcast. I don't know what I'm chatting about. Honestly, I'm hot. I'm tired. Yeah. How are you?
Well, obviously, as you can tell, I do occasionally do these little podcasts in my sunglasses. And today's reason is because after years of taking the piss out of hay fever, I think I've finally caught on to hay fever. And now, for some reason, it's only affecting my left eye, and my left eye is completely bloodshot. But I didn't want to come on here and everyone think I've just been doing like shitloads of weed. So I haven't been doing that. It's just yeah, I'm just a little bitch when it comes to flowers. Apparently, it's karma, this, Grace, because I've been taking the mick out of people with hay fever for years, and it's finally just hit me like last year, and I'm just like crying constantly. But anyway, we're not here to talk about hay fever. We're here to talk about football. The World Cup is in full swing, and we're going to break it down. If you've not seen this before, hit like, hit follow, hit subscribe, do whatever you need to do on whatever platform you are watching on. We're doing little videos. How's them daily updates coming, by the way, on the headlines? Are you enjoying them? Because they're not daily. I know I said I'll try to, but I've been busy, to be fair. Grace is looking at me like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Um,
Yeah, what are you talking about?
oh, last week I started doing daily football headlines on here.
Yes, no, I've clocked on now. Yeah.
I say daily. I did warn everybody that it was going to try and be daily, and I think I did it for about 2 days, and then I got completely rushed off my feet. But yeah, I'm due an up. I'm due an update because there's been quite a lot going on aside from the World Cup. To be fair, Grace, which I wish I had the time to talk about at the minute, because Tottenham have just come out the gates flying in the transfer market. But we are going to talk about all that at some point. But today we're here to focus on the World Cup. Before we get to England, England played last night at the time of recording. Um, we we'll get into that. Is there anything that you want to bring up about this World Cup so far, Grace, in terms of games from the start of the World Cup?
Ooh.
Are you enjoying it?
I am because I'm football mad, and any situation where I get 4 football matches a day, I'm fairly pleased. Granted, I'm not watching two of them, I would argue, because they're God knows what time in the morning. Although I did stay up, I was so stupid, mate. I literally was babysitting, and then I came home, took an hour nap, and stayed up for Scotland Haiti and live streamed it, and the sun came up. Honestly, there was a part of me that regretted it. There was another part of me, and I've never felt so alive. It was great. So I'm loving it, to be honest with you. But there's so much controversy around it, isn't there? With the even just the hydration breaks are causing controversy. What's your
Oh,
controversy?
I think
Controversy. What's your view on that?
I think you might have just mispronounced adverts wrong there, Grace. To be honest with you.
Ah, ah, you would be worried then that I'd actually done something wrong. That's disgraceful.
It's yeah. Look, I don't think Americans can understand that it's just two halves, so they've had to try and break it down into quarters instead, haven't they? But come on, we all know there's no point in me and you sat here talking about it because everybody knows the real reason why we're having these hydration breaks. At least, well, again, they're saying they're being consistent. Last night with the England game, it was under a roof and it was about 20 degrees, but they still had the hydration breaks to keep it fair and consistent. Yeah, just to shove a couple more adverts in. Did you see that they delayed one of the games just so they could get another advert in?
Yeah, I did see
Yeah.
that. I'm pleased that the BBC and ITV are not taking part in that. They are just watching the hydration breaks play out, having a discussion about the game. I think yesterday during, was it ITV's coverage, they went to Emma Hayes talking about, tactical stuff. And I feel like they're keeping true to themselves, dare I say it, in terms of it being football coverage and it staying that way. I think they stuff enough adverts in, in different situations because they do it weekly when it's the Premier League and when it's other leagues in this country. But my God, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It seems to spice up a few games.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely turn a game on its head because one team can have like complete domination, and then with these hydration breaks, it could completely flip the other way. And Yeah, look, I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't take 3 minutes for a hydration break, get some water down, you get going. It's not, is it? There's too many tactics involved and stuff like that, and it feels very Americanized, which is a shame. But I don't want to talk about all the politics in this year's World Cup, but it has been brought into it, especially with all Donald Trump getting involved and stuff like that. But just keep it out, man. Like we don't need it. There was a what did someone did mention something the other day that was quite political, and I thought, why are you bringing that up? There's no need to be bringing that up. Just let's just get on with the football. Let's just enjoy it. I can't remember what it was. I'll message you privately and tell you what it was, but it's completely gone out of my head. But yeah, is there any noticeable games that you've enjoyed so far? I've not actually get to see that many. Obviously, as you know, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. So by the time like the 2 o'clock games are going on, I'm fast asleep. So yeah, what have you managed to see?
It's fair enough. That's a really good question. I really enjoyed Japan Netherlands. I like that one. That was a good one. France Senegal the other night. That was enjoyable. Um, what else? To be honest with you, I think England probably had one of the most entertaining games of the competition so far.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest with you, them three games that you mentioned, they're the three that I've seen, and I've not really got to see much else. But I've fallen lucky because the Netherlands Japan game that was quite good, especially the second half of that. But yeah, the France game I saw majority of that. I don't think I got to see the second half, which was the good half.
Yeah,
And then obviously the England game last night as well, which I didn't intend on watching the full thing, but commitment to the
couldn't
podcast.
help.
We'll
Yeah.
say we'll say that currently, but into the podcast. But yeah, shall we? I mean, who surprised you so far this tournament?
Well, Cape Verde deserve a mention. My God, they were excellent against Spain, and they fully deserved that point. I think a lot of us were hoping that they'd get the winner towards the end. They were absolutely excellent. That goalkeeper, his name escapes me, but he was tremendous, particularly in that first half. A lot of shot stopping, and Spain just couldn't break Cape Verde down, which you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? I saw a tweet the other day that said nobody should go to the World Cup that are happy to be there, and I'm like, shove off. No, no, that's not what football's about, is it? This is massive for certain places like Curacao and for Cape Verde. Those types of places, and it's magical. I don't know about you. I think it's magical when the likes of Cape Verde, where their highlight really of this tournament is going to be, unless they somehow get out the group stages, is going to be, holding Spain off essentially. And I love it. I love all of that magic.
Yeah, well, again, a big talking point is the expansion of the World Cup this year. Is
Mm,
it what is it? 48 teams this year? Is it that many?
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I think a lot of people are saying that there's too many, and yeah, there's an argument for that. But I think with these results with Cape Verde and forgive me, what's the other one? That's quite the word.
Curacao.
Curacao. They drew as well, didn't they?
Oh no, Curacao lost quite
Oh,
badly
they
to
lost. Oh, I must have.
Germany.
Who was that
Yeah,
one?
there's someone else that will have. Yeah, there'll be someone else that managed to get themselves a draw. I've forgotten. There's so much football on, isn't there?
Wow! Did the draw? No, they got battered 7-1. Yeah, how did I forget that? Yeah, well, the Cape Verde with the draw and stuff, it proves that it's a good example to have these teams in because anything can happen. And yeah, if they'd gone on to nick one at the last minute, I mean, that'd have been wild, especially against one of the favourites in Spain. I don't think it completely put Spain out. I mean, look at didn't Argentina lose to Saudi Arabia? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was Argentina, wasn't it? In the last World Cup, and they went on to win it. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be too much of a stumbling block for Spain, but probably not the way they wanted to have started the World Cup.
No, but this is the beauty of tournament football, isn't it? And this is why I love it so much because it individual quality, of course, it plays its part. There's so many intricate details to, successful teams in a World Cup, in a Euros, in any sort of tournament, AFCON even. Um, but I love that it comes down to 90 minutes. These games, and I know it sounds stupid because every football match does, but the Premier League almost feels a bit more like a marathon, doesn't it? It feels a little bit more like you're chugging along. You got to do a little bit more of a sometimes it's a bit stick or twist. Sometimes it's a bit, okay, we're going to hold off on some of these players, give them a rest, all that sort of stuff. You got to keep things in mind. Whereas at the World Cup, the likes of Cape Verde, they're going into games against Spain. Spain are potentially, I know Lamine Yamal didn't start because of um, suffering with an injury, and they just didn't risk him. teams like Spain are going into that thing having sort of one eye on the group on the knockout stages and all that sort of stuff because they're likely to get there. Well, Cape Verde are turning up with nothing to lose, and their defending is dogged. Their defending is exact. It's by the book, and that's enough to keep Spain out. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love about tournament football is actually every country's motivation, every country's targets in a World Cup are different. And I think sometimes we can get carried away as England fans because our motivation as England fans is to go to these competitions and win them. It's only when you look at someone so close to home like Scotland, who are just trying to cause an upset, essentially. They don't go into it thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to win it. We've got a good chance of winning it. They're just going as far as they possibly can. And I love it. I love it. That's where upsets come from. And it's just an absolute joy.
Yeah, well, we'll give a little love to Scotland before we jump into the England chat because obviously they are from the UK, so we need to sort of give them praise where it's due, and they did win 1-0. Was it Haiti?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, who actually scored it? Oh,
McGinn.
yeah. Wow, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't get to see this one, but yeah. Look, Scotland, like you said, they're there to sort of enjoy the ride, and just it's good for them just to be out there enjoying the World Cup. From what I've heard, the Scots are. I mean, we all know what the Scots are like anyway, but the Scots are out there drinking at the beers dry. So yeah, I mean, Scotland. Do you think they'll get through the group stage?
Look, they're at the top at the moment, aren't they? So they're in their group, if I'm not wrong, is Haiti, Morocco, and Brazil.
Yes, spot on.
Well, they got 3 points the other day. That puts them top of that group. Haiti, all three of Morocco, Brazil, and Scotland will have been looking at the Haiti fixtures. They have to get 3 points. Um, there was parts of I watched Morocco versus Brazil, and there was parts of both of those sides. I was probably more technically wowed by Morocco. There's individuals for Brazil that can absolutely shine. Vinicius Junior being one of them. But in terms of the unit, I think Morocco impressed me that little bit more. So I'm really intrigued. I feel like I can't answer whether Scotland can get out of the group or not without seeing them play Morocco. I feel like once I see them play Morocco, which I believe is at time of recording tomorrow night, then I feel like if they can get a point, for example, from Morocco, then why not? Do you know what I mean? It's they're there to cause an upset. Why can't they?
Well, again, with the expansion to 48 teams, they only have to finish third as long as they're one of the better third place teams. Of course, they can go through. And you know what? Look at it's not. I don't think it's quite the same because it's the World Cup and it's a bit different. But look at Wales in the Euros when they got all the way to the semi-finals. I mean, I know they had Gareth Bale running that team and stuff like that. But yeah, do you know what? Scotland, go out there, enjoy it, and just do whatever you can. And if you go to the round of 16, then do you know what I mean? Just go as far as you can go. You'll enjoy it. Just enjoy the ride. I know a lot of English people won't like that. I don't. Do we care? Do English people actually really care? I don't know. It's
It's
difficult
a
to say.
difficult one. It's a difficult one because, like, for me, I've always been of the mindset that I understand why Scotland fans get annoyed at England fans, but
Yeah,
from my perspective, because our motivation as England fans is so different to Scotland's in a World Cup, I've got no problem Scotland doing all right. I've got no problem them being that bugger, essentially, being that arsehole you don't want to play. Because England, they're there to win it, and anything less than that is seen as some sort of a disappointment. I just think the motivations are so incredibly far away from each other that I don't actually have a problem. That's why I stayed up to watch it because I did not have a problem with Scotland because it was miraculous. Let's be honest, it was brilliant how they got there. So, but I've seen so many Scottish people so excited for this World Cup. I personally don't have a problem with them getting out the group stages and maybe you never know even getting out of the round of 32.
yeah, absolutely. We are going to jump into England in a minute, so it's going to be a short podcast today because I've got to go play. Well, try and play football myself later on. But yeah, I'll just very quickly run through some notable stuff. Obviously, the opening game was Mexico 2, South Africa nil, containing two red cards as well. There was three red cards, wasn't it, that one? South Africa and two men sent off. Who else do I want to talk about? We spoke about Netherlands and Japan. I thought that was a fantastic game. USA, they surprised me with their
Yes.
4-1 win. Pochettino did a lot better than what I thought he would. I thought he'd be losing every game, to be honest with you. Germany, obviously, battering Curacao 7-1. Who else do I want to talk about? We've spoke about Spain and Cape Verde, haven't we? Belgium,
Yeah.
Egypt at 1-1. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I think it was mad, right? I don't want to talk about this too much, but I think when I looked at the betting odds, Egypt to win was like something like 150 to 1. And I was like, yeah, okay, they're not going to win it, but 150 to 1, that was wild for when I looked at that. France, obviously, they got underway with a 3-1 win over Senegal. Norway, 4-1 win. Haaland, obviously, bagging a couple of goals. And then the two games I do want to talk about, obviously, England. And then I just want to quickly talk about Portugal and Dr. Congo, as people are calling them. Um, did you get to see much of this?
I saw, I'll be brutally honest with you, I didn't. There was certain things going on and I sort of, when you sort of in and out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even see the Congo equaliser, which was heartbreaking because I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did get to see this one actually, and you know what? I mean, the pundits have been like hyping up Portugal's midfield for like the last month now, and yes, it's an incredible midfield. Portugal looked off it last night, and I think I wanted to ask the question: do you think Ronaldo could be holding Portugal back?
Oh, I need more evidence to make my decision on that. I need more of, 2 or 3 games. I need the group stages essentially to sort of come to any sort of conclusion about that. I think it could be a bit of a Liverpool Mo Salah debate style thing, where yes, on the surface it seems brilliant that that character is still in the dressing room, but in reality, are you better off moving on and building something new? Maybe. Ronaldo is still extremely talented. Don't get me wrong, I still very much appreciate watching him play football, and I will enjoy watching him play for Portugal this season, this World Cup. Um, you do have to consider it the other way. You do have to consider whether, everything runs through Ronaldo. Everything is about Ronaldo at Portugal. The one thing I feel England do well is Harry Kane, for example. He's our main man, but no doubt in our mind, he is our main man. But in many ways, we don't, weirdly, because English media can be all sorts of terrible, but we don't tend to put everything through Kane. Do you know what I mean? Kane isn't, when you think of England, you don't necessarily think of Harry Kane. When you think of Portugal, you think of Ronaldo. When you think of Argentina, you think of Messi. Even to the point of when you think of France, you think of Mbappe, really. And I don't know, is that too much pressure on not that Ronaldo can't take it, but maybe the players around Ronaldo where, you feel like he's got to be the one that gets the headlines. Is there a selfishness involved with Ronaldo? And that will have been part of his success, no doubt. But there is so much talent in that Portuguese side, and it feels potentially like you have to consider maybe Ronaldo is holding them back a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. And I think watching the game last night, you could see that there was constantly trying to look for Ronaldo whenever an opportunity came in for a cross. And yeah, they looked a little bit slow on the edge of the box, Portugal. And I'm thinking maybe because the group they should be heavily favourites to. I mean, they're heavily favourites to win the tournament, but they should easily walk through that group. So I think maybe is there a lack of maybe conserving energy? I don't know. It's a discussion to have. But yeah, Vissa with the equaliser, fantastic header by the way. If you
What was
ask.
it?
Yeah, yeah, it was a good little equaliser to be fair from Congo, and they actually Congo looked all right. They looked quite good. I wouldn't say like dark horses of the tournament, but yeah, they looked fairly decent to be fair. I was quite impressed. And then obviously I had Messi rolling back the years, banging in a hat trick out of absolutely nowhere. To be fair, he's still got it. I mean, he's the absolute goat as far as I'm concerned. Messi, I do love that. Messi or Ronaldo, Chris?
Messi.
Thank you. Um, Right, we're going to jump into England because that is obviously the main reason why we are here. Before we do that, don't forget this podcast is brought to you by GME Media. You can head over to their TikTok channel where we do a lot of like show reviews at the minute, but it is building and the website, I promise it is coming. We're going to get there slowly. And yeah, it's brought to you by GME Media, of course, which you should know by now. Me and Grace are the directors of it. It's not official. Don't matter. Anyway, should we jump into England, Grace? Do you want to talk me through this game?
Well, I mean, there was all sorts of leaks, wasn't there, about this lineup, and it, coming into this tournament, it's been very difficult to work out how Tuchel is going to play. Um, but I wasn't necessarily shocked with how he was going to play. How he set up yesterday. So I'll just run through the lineup. Obviously, it was a 4-2-3-1 generally. Pickford in goal. Concert and Stones at the back, which would have been a little bit of a shock to some because personally I'm a massive fan of Gay. I maybe would have started Gay. Um, James at right back, O'Reilly at left back. Don't think there's too many surprises there. Anderson and Rice are the midfield partnership. And again, I don't think there's too many surprises there. Bellingham in sort of that 10 role. Gordon on the left, Madueke on the right, which, I think a lot of people probably would have considered Saka as the starter. I think it probably was because Saka hasn't been fully fit as of recently that Madueke started. And then Kane up top. What did you think of that starting 11?
Yeah, I mean, it's worth talking about. Obviously, Livramento has had to leave the England camp due to injury. Just while you was talking there, actually, Czech Republic have gone 1-0 up against South Africa. Um,
Who scored?
who's got? Oh, you're fucking testing me now, Grace. Come on. Uh, mm, a Czech Republican player.
Okay.
I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I'll probably upset about 7 different countries. Um, yeah, obviously, Timo Liv. What's his first name? Is it Timo? Tino?
Yeah, Tino Livramento.
There we go.
Tino Livramento.
Livramento has had to leave the England camp due to was it hamstring injury? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, and he's been replaced by Chalobah. Which what was that what you expected when you heard about that, or did that throw you off?
I think it's an interesting choice, personally. I, I, I can't. I feel like I can't say any more about his squad choice because I've sort of openly disagreed with it in many ways, and I don't really understand Chalobah coming into this. I'll be brutally honest with you. I feel rather than feeling negative about who he's brought in, I feel worse for Livramento in terms of I like Livramento. I think he's a great player, and it's really unfortunate he's going to miss the World Cup through a hamstring injury. Um, do I think, look, Livramento was more there if Reece James gets injured. Let's be honest. Reece James is the starter, and I think that's pretty nailed on. And I know Trevor Chalobah can play. He's quite versatile in that back line. So he's quite a useful player to have. Lots of people saying, no, that should have been Maguire's spot. It's so difficult because I don't feel like I can guess Tuchel's thought process when it comes to that squad because I never would have picked the squad that he picked.
It's mad, isn't it, when the hate that Maguire's had throughout his career, and now everyone's basically begging him to be getting brought up to the England squad. Like my life just flips like so quick. But in terms of the actual lineup, yeah, like you said, there's a couple of surprises maybe thrown in there, like Madueke, maybe for example. But yeah, I wasn't too bothered about the lineup, to be honest with you. I mean, I can see why he's done it. It's the opening game. I think this is probably going to, or it should be, our hardest game throughout the group.
Yeah,
And yeah, my thoughts on the game, to be fair, though, was the first 10 minutes up until the penalty, I was quite nervous. I was
yeah.
thinking, we look scatty. We don't look quite up for this. And I think that sort of went on for majority of the first half.
Mm.
Going forward, I thought we looked incredible. We was very good going forward. Yeah, defensively, I thought was quite shaky, and I thought we can't keep this up for a full 90 minutes without conceding. But yeah, I was impressed with the attack. I was concerned over the defence. But like I've said to you before, my philosophy in football is go out there and score more than your opponent because that's what you have to do to win a game of football. So if we're going to go out there and smash four past every opponent, I'm not going to complain. But I mean, that's my philosophy on football. What was your take on it, Chris?
The first half, I felt, I think scatty's the right word. I felt like every area was a bit scatty. I didn't have too much faith in the defence. I thought we played out from the back a few times and it looked risky. And there are certain players in this competition that will take advantage of that. And it's that French front line that comes to mind. Let's be honest. If you're gonna win this tournament, the likelihood is you're gonna have to come up against France. I imagine France will at least be in the final. And there was certain defensive choices, certain defensive tactics that I didn't love. I think it left us quite vulnerable. I wasn't really convinced with Rice and Anderson in the first half, and and not so much long term because I know they work. I think it was more of a case of that first game jitters, that nervousness, just getting to grips with each other and trying to work out what each other's role was. Because in the second half, I didn't feel like that, so that was good. I,
You've got to
I
remember.
can't.
Sorry, you've got to remember as well that they've had to wait the full length of the group rest of the group games before they can play. They've had to watch every other team play before they can get out there. So you would imagine that the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes are going to be quite jittery until you want that first touch early on in the game, don't you? Just to settle them nerves. Like I said, that they were not the last game to play before Group A, but do you know what I mean? Before the next lot of games come in, they've had to see everyone else play, and they've had to see like I think partly that's kind of where sort of Ronaldo got into his head because you just see Messi banging a hat trick, he's seen Mbappe score, he's seen Haaland score, and he's thinking, right, I've got to go out there and do it now. So I think England were kind of like, right, we've seen everybody else do it. We need to go out there and show them what we can do as well. And it kind of just, for the first 10 minutes, everyone was a bit sort of panicky. But it did settle down. I think that penalty, we needed that penalty because after that, the game turned and we sort of settled into it a little bit more.
Yeah, and it was a stonewall. I don't think anybody could argue that that wasn't a penalty. It definitely was. In terms of going forward, I think Bellingham seemed off to me in that first half, and I think it was the tactics. To be honest with you, I'm a big believer in if Jude Bellingham is in my 11, certain things have to work around Jude Bellingham to get the best out of Bellingham. I don't think he's a slot in type player. I don't think he is that. I think you need to do things that get the best out of him, and then you have some player on your hands. And that first half, I just didn't feel like I had that. I didn't feel that sort of synergy between them all. I thought it wasn't Gordon's game, to be honest with you, and that's okay because I think he impressed me in the friendlies leading up to this. So we know the quality that Anthony Gordon has. I think Rashford probably came on and had probably given Tuchel a difficult decision for the next game. Um, but
Isn't it good though? Isn't it good to look at the bench and actually think, look at what we've got coming off the bench? It makes such a difference rather than looking. I think like maybe I can relate this to Tottenham. Like throughout this season, without the injuries that we've had, you look at our bench and you think, what? Why? Where do we go? What do we do? Who do we bring on?
yeah,
Whereas you look at this England lineup, and yeah, I know a lot of people, ourselves included, have called out his squad selection. But we're still. You look at the starting 11, and you look at the bench, and you think, wow, like we can bring on some serious players.
and I think the formation he started with was really good for that because I feel the 4-2-3-1 is a formation where a lot of those players can just replace each other. You haven't got to go and change everything to make someone fit in. Maybe Bellingham, like I said, I think he's a difficult case in many ways. Um, but Rashford came on and just sort of slotted in. Do you know what I mean? And even if Kane had to come off and you brought on Ollie Watkins, he could slot in. I think that 4-2-3-1, I was pleased with that formation going into this game.
Well, you look at the players that did come on: Morgan Rogers, Rashford, Saka, Spence, and Gahey. You look at them, and maybe I mean I think Spence is decent, but maybe Spence aside, how many clubs up and down the Premier League would all them players just walk straight into the teams?
Yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't say we've got, I've watched a lot of documentaries about previous World Cup teams and all that sort of stuff leading up to this World Cup. And the immediate one that comes to mind for me is the 2006 squad, where we essentially had 5 of the 12 best players in the competition. We had stars. And this squad, I feel the only person I can say with real motivation is world class is Harry Kane. I'm not putting anybody else in that category. I know some people want to put other players in it. I'm not. I'm putting Harry Kane in there. I hold a high bar when it comes to classing somebody as world class, and I would put Harry Kane in there, but no one else in that squad. And I think in a sense, that might benefit us this competition because Harry Kane is quite a selfless player anyway. He doesn't hold that selfishness in many ways, which is weird for a striker, but he doesn't. I think he's quite a generous footballer. Um, and for him to be our sort of star player and still have those qualities, the people around him won't feel hard done by, won't feel like they're, trying to rise to his level, have to feed him all the time, all that sort of stuff. They can be their own, quality self. And look, there's no doubt that squad has quality in it.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's an argument to have that Croatia are not the team that they once were. They're aging, I think, as a squad now. Croatia. I did quite enjoy watching Ivan Perovic. Obviously, he had some time at Tottenham. It was good to see him play. I thought he played quite well, to be fair.
Yeah, me
Obviously,
too.
Luka Modric didn't have the best game that he's ever had. Obviously, gave away the penalty. Luka Vuskovic, I said to you, and I even texted you before the game, keep an eye on him. I've been waxing lyrical about him all season, and he just didn't show up, did he? He had a very poor game, to be fair, which made me look a tit.
Eh?
But, say that again, sorry.
He got hooked, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got hooked at 50 odd minutes, I think he did in the end, something like that. But yeah, oh no, 66 minutes he got hooked on. But yeah, a shame really because I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about him. But yeah, anyway, do you want to very quickly run through each goal and I'll try and chip in where I can?
Yes. So, oh, hang on. 2 seconds. Here we go. So it was obviously the Kane penalty to begin with. It was saved by the Croatian goalkeeper, who I thought had a great game, to be fair. And he was off his line. So it was retaken. I think it was rightfully retaken. Kane went the same side.
No,
He
no,
just,
no, rightfully taken, but Kane's got lucky there. He's got
oh,
lucky.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a poor penalty. I want more height from a Harry Kane penalty, personally.
Poor penalty, and he was marginally off his line as well. You know, I don't think that. I think his right foot was still quite close to the line. Look, he was off the line, but he was rightfully. I don't think it was just that either. I think. Oh, was it one of? Oh, who was it? I think one of the defenders had maybe gone into the box early as well. Um,
Hmm.
I'm sure it was
Yes,
that. Anyway.
encroachment. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he'd come into the box early, so I wasn't quite sure why maybe both reasons was why it was retaken. But yeah, he's got lucky there, and I'm not a fan of these stutter run ups either. Like you don't need to be doing it. Just put your foot through it. That's the whole point of a penalty. The whole point of a penalty for the striker is to give the advantage to the striker. You have the advantage already. Put your foot through it, and the
yeah.
keeper's not going to have time to react anyway. But yeah, anyway, it was retaken, and he converted the next one.
Yeah, so then it's 1-0 England. About 25 minutes later, to be fair, Croatia, they scored two goals, but they were two very mighty goals.
Yeah,
Baturina made it 1-1. Lovely, lovely goal. Really nice. I could break down those goals in terms of, I'm that person of show me a goal, I'll show you a mistake in many ways. I don't remember which goal it was from a Croatian point of view that O'Reilly got done, and that just reinforces my personal preference to have had Lewis Hall start as left back at this World Cup. Um, Anything to say about that goal?
yeah, I think Pickford will be disappointed. He got a hand to it, wasn't strong enough, and yeah, I think he'll look back at it and I think he saw it late. I think there was quite a few bodies in front of him, to be fair, so I don't think he got the full sight of it. But I think he will be disappointed that he's not kept that one out.
Yeah, I probably don't disagree. Next up was a classic Declan Rice corner. I mean, we've seen it all season. Honestly, his set pieces have come on so much.
When that goal went in, every Arsenal fan up and down the country just went, "You see, see, the set pieces aren't that bad, are they?"
Oh, they're fabulous when they're for England. They're annoying as hell when you're playing against them. But I mean, it was just divine, wasn't it? I was talking to my dad about it, and it was a case of, Harry Kane is one of those strikers where if you can get the ball to where Harry Kane wants it, he'll bury it. And I feel that partnership is really good because Rice can put it on a plate for him. I thought his set pieces last night were divine. And that was one of those corners. Kane just came. Oh, what a header that was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think everybody, being a Tottenham fan, everyone will already know my love for Harry Kane. That man is genuinely one of the best players I've ever seen play football. He's incredible. But yeah, I joke about the corners and stuff. Again, the difference is we wasn't wrestling players to the ground. That's the
Yes.
big difference between the corners that we're talking about. But yeah, in terms of the delivery, unbelievable delivery. You can't give Harry Kane that much room, man. What are you doing? Apparently, I think Croatia were taking a like zonal marking point of view from it
Right.
rather than man to man. And yeah, I think once that goal conceded, they swapped to man to man. But you surely right if you're zonal marking, I don't care if you have to leave your zone. If you see Harry Kane on the edge of that box, somebody must be thinking, "I better go pick him up." Surely,
Yeah.
but they don't want to come out of the zone, concede, and everyone go, "Why were you in your zone?" Harry
Yes.
Kane's on the edge of the box. You've got one of the best strikers in the world stood by himself.
And he
Unbelievable.
sussed it. He sussed it early, didn't he? He
Yeah,
sussed it early, sussed that defensive tactic early, and he just took advantage of it.
I
And Kane
I,
did what Kane does.
I think his intelligence is so underrated on a football pitch. He's unbelievable the way he reads a game. But yeah, that's his second goal. Do you want to jump into Croatia's second?
Yes, so this was another lovely goal, to be fair. I think this was the O'Reilly one. This was the one that O'Reilly was.
Yeah, I
He
think so. Yeah.
committed. I think he committed, and he maybe shouldn't have done, should have stood off a little bit. Maybe read the player a little bit better. But look, it was a lovely goal. There's no doubt. We went in at half time 2-2. We're all feeling a bit nervous. I think it's fair to say.
Yes, but then the way I sort of looked at it was two very good goals that it took to beat England. So yeah, I think it was a fair first half. I think it was, to be fair. Like I said, Perisic, I thought he played quite well. He a lovely little layback with the header to set up the goal.
Mhm.
And we nearly got the blocking, to be honest with you. This goal annoyed me because I think this was the one where Jude Bellingham didn't track back or something properly. I think it was this goal anyway, and he just kind of like once he'd seen the ball go over the top, he just sort of backpedaled and was like, "I'm not getting there," which I don't want to see that from anybody. But Bellingham's got the
No, I totally agree. So it was half time, and I do want to mention this because I think pretty much every England player has mentioned it. The half-time team talk worked. Let's be brutally honest. They came out with the level of aggression you could only ask for, you could only dream of from an England point of view. And my God, did it get the best out of that
I think.
attacking
Sorry,
ability that we had on the pitch.
I think this is something that Gareth Southgate wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
He's not giving that team talk, which gets them riled up. Like you look again, I don't want to keep bringing it back to Tottenham, but you look at what Tottenham were like under Ange, the way that he held his team talks. Tottenham were miles better in the second half of games under Ange because of the team talk that he went out and gave. And same with England. With England, you're not getting that from Southgate. Yes, he was a decent manager for England. He probably took us as far as we could have gone, but yeah, this is something that Tuchel brings, which Gareth Southgate couldn't. Is the aggression and the energy to sort of get the players going again.
And they came out flying, and we scored very, very quickly afterwards. And this was that shift for Bellingham that I felt he occupied the sort of wider areas of the pitch rather than the central area in the second half, and he just beat his man down the right hand side. And I knew that because we know the quality that Bellingham has, I don't think anybody doubts that. I knew if he got that shot off, it would at least be on target. And my God, he just, and like you say, it's an aging Croatian side, there's no doubt. But he beat his man, and it was probably so many people. I work in a primary school, and so many kids were talking about the Kane header and all that sort of stuff today. From a football point of view, I preferred the two goals in the second half. I mean, and I probably preferred. I loved the technique that Rashford had for the fourth goal, but I loved this Bellingham goal. I really, really loved it. And to be fair, I think we could have had three or four within the space of about 20 minutes from that point.
Yeah, I agree. This, I mean, to be fair, the Croatia goalkeeper, we mentioned it earlier. Uh, if it wasn't for him, I think we could have been about fucking 6 or 7-2 up by the end of the game. I think he had to be, even though he conceded four, I think he had a fantastic game in so many
Yes.
respects, which is a wild thing to say. Like I say, conceding 4 goals, but yeah, I did enjoy this goal. And then obviously Rashford. Do you want to quickly run that one through?
Yeah, and then Marcus Rashford had just, we again, I love Rashford because I almost think he has the composure of a centre forward. I feel like he has that. And it was actually a delicious assist from Bukayo Saka. I really enjoyed his part in this. He goes down the left hand side, he cuts in, shifts it onto his right, and it just curls beautifully into the corner. And we've seen Rashford do this so many times. And I'm really pleased for Marcus Rashford because he's come into this tournament. We scored four in the first game. Kane's got two. Bellingham's got one. But for me, those two players, they don't lack in confidence. I think this was a really good goal for Rashford to come into this tournament, score in the first game, a lovely goal, a trademark Rashford goal. I was really, really pleased for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're spot on there. This is a goal that will probably kickstart Rashford, and I'm glad he got one early in terms of tournament wise, rather than getting to like the quarterfinals. He's not scored yet, and he's snatching at everything. Whereas scoring in the opening game, he's just going to relax him. He's going to remind, look, I'm here for a reason. I'm here to do a job. This is what I do. And it was an incredible finish, to be fair. The little fake onto his left and the little cut back onto his right, and the placement as well. Like, there's so many players that could easily try and hammer that ball and send it over the cross. I think we saw one from Harry Kane towards the end where he blasted it over the bar. Which, to be honest with you, I think by that point Kane had he'd already done his job. He should have been hooked for me personally, and
Interesting.
bring on the Watkins or something like that. But yeah, how many times have we seen players get into that position and blast it over the bar because they've gone for power over placement, and Rashford just had the composure just to slot it home.
Oh.
Yeah, I really did rate that goal, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I wanted to mention was potentially, Declan Rice got hooked. I say he got hooked. He didn't get hooked. He came off in the 72nd minute, and my God, it caused bedlam in my household because we're all trying to understand tactically what he's doing. We're thinking, oh God, what has he done this for? But it turns out, I think he was limping. I think there was a bit of an injury there. I'm hoping because he's so important for everything England do well that he's okay.
Yeah, I think kind of last night the vibes were a bit sort of like go out there and just sort of enjoy yourself as well. Like go out there and get the job done, but just sort of enjoy. I mean, we saw Harry Kane at centre back for most of the game, and he was dropping deep, and we saw Konza up. So how many times we've seen Reece James on the wing, and like I think it was just again this is something else that Southgate wouldn't have done, but the players seemed to have more freedom last night and just sort of Harry Kane had got his two goals and then he was like, right, I've done my bit. I've got credit in the bank. I can drop now and play how I like to play. And he'd done the hard work to allow him to do that. And I feel like I said, yeah, I think this is something that we didn't see under Southgate, where we just sort of had the freedom to go and play how we want to play and enjoy playing and attack the opponents. So it was refreshing. I think it was, especially the second half. Like again, still the fourth goal. I think we needed that because I think at 3-2, I was still a bit oh, okay,
Yeah.
let's be careful. But maybe that's just the cynical football fan in me. But yeah, I think that the 4-2, once that had gone in, everybody was just like, right, okay, we're good. We're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I don't know about you. The final thing I want to mention is we looked vulnerable when Rice came off. We started to invite a little bit of pressure. I didn't enjoy that. Um, and he shifted Bellingham to a sort of eight role, and Anderson played, a bit more consistently deeper. I know he probably plays the deeper of the two anyway, but he played, a bit more of a natural six. And I didn't love it. I didn't love. I felt we were more vulnerable. But then he stuck Gay on, and he stuck Jed Spence on, and Reece James was pushed into midfield. And for me, the balance just it. I loved it. I loved that. That was really nice. I mean, we've all seen Reece James do that for Chelsea. We know he can play there, and I really, really enjoyed that shift. I think that's a lovely shift that we can have in our back pocket, especially you know you can't fully rely on Declan Rice to be your stability, can you? Um, so yeah, I really liked that tactic personally.
Yeah, last two things I just want to mention. I like the fact there was no cards in this game at all. That the ref just let it play. Not a single
It was great.
yeah, well, yeah, you've got to give it credit where it's due. To be fair, yeah, I liked it. Just let it play. And I also wanted to mention: did you like how much the commentators were trying to desperately plead that Harry Kane blocks that shot with his chest? That was not his chest, mate. That was definitely a little bit lower than his chest, and I think he definitely had probably two things up in his throat by the end of the game. We'll put it that way. Yeah,
At that moment, he went, "Thank God he's had his kids already."
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Do you know what? To be fair, I think I've said this to you before. Actually, I'm sure it was you speaking about. Loads of people slag off Harry Kane for dropping too deep, and he does drop deep. But maybe I see it differently because I've watched him for so many years. But that Harry Kane has always done that. He's always played that way. And yeah, okay, sometimes when you see him in the box, you're thinking, "What is he doing? Get up the pitch." But that's just and that's when he's at his best. When he drops deep, he can ping balls out to the wingers. He's got people running around him, and he always gets there. Do you know what I mean? He makes that ball. Like how many times did you see the Son and Kane? The ball out wide to Son, and you're thinking, well, Kane's nowhere near it, and then all of a sudden Kane's back in the box and Son's cutting it back to him. But that's just how he's played his entire career. So that is why he's going to be my man of the match for today.
Do you know what? I can't disagree with that. I just thought he looked like a man on a mission last night, and I just think he in the most graceful way because I just don't think he shows that ego. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. when you look at players like Vinicius Junior, you know he's got an ego. You know he's got some sort of, he knows how important he is. You know, Harry Kane just doesn't have that, and he's just selfless. I mean, his defensive ability last night, he just played his part in every area, and I totally agree. I cannot disagree with you because I think it has to be Harry Kane.
And it shined through in his interview as well, because in his interview it was all about the team, not him scoring the two goals. It was all about just because I think as well did he equal Gary Lineker's record or something, or some record from Gary Lineker. But there was no sort of like look at me and look what I've done. It was about the team and about getting it done and about getting over the line together. And like I said, I do think he should have been hooked earlier, especially like I make a joke about it. Look, he did take one for the team and he did put that block in, which fair play to him. But you also saw him sort of go for his leg as well. The way his leg collapsed underneath him, you're thinking risky.
Ah,
Yeah, like, oh, come on. It's like, we don't need to do. Even then, I don't even know if we might use our subs by that point, but once that had happened, get him off. Literally, just get him off
mm.
the pitch. But like, we might have run out of our substitutes by then. I can't quite remember. But yeah, that was a bit cautious about that. But other than that, I was quite impressed with England last night.
I think it was a great start. It was a great start. We've seen teams slip up already. And, you know, it doesn't mean anything. Like you said, Argentina lost their opening game in the World Cup that they won. But it's confidence. You start well. Like you say, it's probably the hardest group game we've got. Here we've got Ghana next. I mean, that's still going to be a challenge. Of course it is. I don't actually think there's a really easy game in this group. And you might say Panama, but I think they offer different things. They're a different challenge, and I quite like that. We lost to Croatia in recent World Cups, so they've become a little bit of a bogey team in many ways. And it was nice to get that result, and that second half performance, I can't knock it.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed. Anything else that you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think we've done it justice.
Yeah, I think we're. This is kind of how it's going to be in it for the World Cup in terms of beyond the whistle. We're gonna. There's no point in us talking about every single game because there's quite a lot going on. And the time zones. I tried to do something with GME where I tried to do a little fact about each country with live shows and stuff. But the time zones are just so impossible to keep up with. I can't get the content out quick enough, which is a shame. But we're gonna try and do it in this sort of way, and we're gonna have a little chat about England after each game for as long as they go on into this competition, and we'll probably do a big sort of podcast at the end to wrap up the World Cup anyway. But I'm quite impressed, and hopefully this continues for England. Grace, I've really enjoyed today. Is that it for you? Anything else that you want to add?
Nah, that's it. I think we covered every base.
Yeah, just make sure you're hitting like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you need to do on whatever platform you are watching on. Grace Wild Football, she's out there smashing the daily morning content at the minute. The what is it? The World Cup morning show, I think you're calling it. Which
Every morning. It's the bane of my life, but I'm enjoying it.
I tell you what, it's a fantastic content idea. I was like, she smashed that. But yeah, every morning she keeps you up to date with what happened throughout the night because most of the games are happening while we're asleep in the UK. So yeah, go check that out as well. And obviously remember to like, subscribe to GME Media who bring you this podcast. Grace, very, very good opening week to the World Cup, and we'll be doing it all again next week.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you for joining me on this podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.